The number 2 seeds from Lynn, Massachusetts, Mike Morgan. His partner from Beverly, Mass, Debbie Scannell.
Okay, Mike comes in averaging 121. His roll-off score 717. Debbie is also at 121. Her roll-off score 618.
And last week, Mike and Debbie combining for a 412 to knock off 2-time winners Mark Gregory and Janice McIntyre. So that advanced them here to the championship match. And now they face our number 1 seeds from Plastow, New Hampshire, Gary Carrington, and his partner from Baldwinville, Massachusetts, Jhani Brown.
Okay, Gary carries an average of 132. His roll-off score 717. And Jhani Brown is at 119 and 641.
All right, and before Dan loses his voice, he's getting all choked up over this championship match. We'll tell you that our bonus ball jackpot is up to $110 at the end of the hour, and also our triple strike jackpot hits $1,000 today. If either of our 2 teams can hit a triple strike, the first team to do it today would split $1,000. So lots on the line today. Incidentally, prize money for today. The runners-up will share $400 for second place. The winners will share $800 for the championship. Lots on the line today, and we'll be back to start the match. First of 3 games right after these messages.
Candlepin Stars and Strikes is brought to you in part by Tri-State Megabucks, once again bringing you the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions.
Once again, let's have a look at the roll-off scores to see how all these bowlers qualified for this series here on Stars and Strikes, our annual mixed doubles event. These are the men's scores, and as you can see, Gary Carrington and Mike Morgan here at Park Place Lanes in the finals, dead even, 7-17. Gary gets the number 1 seed by virtue of the fact that he rolled a 172 as his high game in the roll-off, where Mike Morgan's high game was 168, so that breaks the tie. As for the ladies, well, it was Jhani Brown with the 641 taking the number 1 spot. Debbie Scannell second at 618, and then on down the line. So the teams are put together after the individual roll-offs. The number 1 seed with the men paired with the number 1 seed for the ladies, and so on down the line, and that results in our teams for the series. And we are left now with our top 2 teams, Gary Carrington and Jhani Brown against Mike Morgan and Debbie Scannell. And Mike Morgan, for the second-seeded team of Morgan and Scannell, will start this match. This could be a real good one, Dan.
I think so. Certainly on paper it looks good. You got the 1 and 2 seeded teams. 2 guys that hit 717, and both women well over 600.
Coming back toward Mike Morgan, didn't get the extra pin he wanted, but possibilities here on the 2, 3, 6, and 10.
A pin behind the 2 and the 3. Probably play the 3, 6, and hope the wood kick forward for the 2.
Not as much happening there as he had hoped. Incidentally, we haven't mentioned it, I don't believe, since the beginning of the year, so it probably is worth repeating right now. With our triple strike jackpot at $1,000, the way this is going to work, the triple strike jackpot provided to us by the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association, the jackpot will go up $50 every week until it hits $2,000. If it should hit $2,000, then it will stay at $2,000 every week until somebody hits it. But as it stays at $2,000, we will start a secondary jackpot and add $50 to that each week, starting with $250, so that when somebody finally hits it at $2,000, we will then have an increased minimum jackpot to start the next one. I don't know if I explained that very well, but when it happens...
I have no idea what you're talking about.
If it happens, then we'll be able to explain it a little better. It's just if it gets to 2,000, it stays at 2,000. Oh, how about that shot? That's a great shot by Mike Morgan. It's for a 10, but it's still worth another look.
That's the 2 into the 3 and the 6. So basically what you're saying, there's always going to be at least $250 there for the bowlers, but it'll cap at $2,000 until somebody hits it.
That's right, and then if it does cap at $2,000, a secondary jackpot will start at $250 and go up $50 every week, and then that jackpot will become available when someone finally hits the $2,000 jackpot.
Right. I understand now.
I'm not sure I do now.
Gary missing the head pin to the right. 1, 2, 7, 9, and 10.
Oh, how about it? Oh, almost. Gary starts with a 10 after narrowly missing the spare. Gary from Plastow, New Hampshire. Works at Lucent Technologies in North Andover. In the Brooklyn pocket and gets a little tickle on the 5-pin, but it'll still be there for the spare.
Oh, he wants that wood to stay out of there. You can see him putting his hand up. Still got room to the right because that piece of, to the left, that piece of wood to the left is frozen on the 5. That still should kick forward.
Yes. First mark of the day for either team. Gary Carrington converting the single. Now Debbie Scannell for her first 2 of the day. Both she and Mike Morgan bowled exceptionally well last week on the way to that 412 triple. The last 2 weeks, Dan, we've had 3 teams go over 400.
Good try with Debbie on the spread eagle.
And the 9 box. And will it go? No. The 9-pin. And that wood causing some concern now. Looks like it's going to stay to the left. In fact, it's still moving to the left. But Debbie slides by on the right. Candlepin Stars and Strikes brought to you in part by Rockingham Toyota Dodge Nissan. Come to Salem and save. Route 97, Salem, New Hampshire, Rockingham Toyota Dodge Nissan. And now our first look at Jhani Brown making her first appearance here on the Winds of New England. And wow, I'll tell you what, Dan, she was throwing a great ball in the warm-up. She doesn't appear to be at all nervous about being here. She's very loose, having a great time with all this, and she throws a 9-drop on her first ball.
She hasn't sat down since she got into the building.
For the spare, right there.
Well, fills her partner's spare with a 9 and comes back with one of her own.
Jhani is from Baldwinville, Mass, which is part of Templeton Village in Templeton, Mass.
Four horsemen left plus the 10-pin.
Waiting for that piece of wood over by the 10-pin. That could determine whether she makes this shot or not. Give it a try now. And a 7. But a 13-pin lead for the team of Carrington and Brown. The team of Morgan and Scannell looking for their first mark still. Mike missing the head pin to the right. Still with the 1, 4, 9, and 10. Tough to get out of this leave.
He's going to shoot for the head pin and hope, and it slides by. So just a 7 and 45. Slow start right now for Morgan and Scannell.
Last week they threw 136, 130, 146 for a total of 412. Mike's in the pocket that time, and that piece of wood is probably going to be in play, but right now it's not a factor in the shot. It's the 2, 5, and 8. It's not as far to the left as it appears on that camera shot, but it's not blocking Mike's path to the 2-pin. Cindy Sissom having a look now at that piece of deadwood, and she's going to look closely. It's right up close to the deadwood line, and it is out of play. So I thought maybe it was not up far enough.
It had to be very, very close.
Well, she had to walk right up there next to it to tell, so. Still a difficult shot, and that's why. You have to get a little bit more of that lead pin usually. Shot like that. So it's a 10. And still looking for their first mark, the team of Morgan and Scannell. Now Gary Carrington. Gary and his wife Kathleen have 2 sons, 13-year-old Matthew and 8-year-old Michael. So that makes Matthew about the same age as the show. We're coming up to our 13th birthday in April.
And it's a 9-box, so 60 through 5 for the team of Carrington and Brown.
And a 15-pin lead, with a chance for more if Gary were to put a mark up here.
You get a chance. The 6, 9, and 10 triangle in the right-hand corner.
Got it. Spare in the 6th. 3rd mark for the team. By the way, in case you're wondering, we talked about those 7-17 roll-off scores for Gary Carrington and Mike Morgan. That breaks down to an average of 143.4, 143.4 for 5 games. That's pretty good.
For the spare.
Yes.
Corrals that 7-pin, their first mark of the match.
The story, though, of the men's roll-off, aside from the fact that Gary and Mike threw the 7-17, is that Chris Sargent threw a 7-04. And that was only good enough for 3rd. Oh, strike on spare. Debbie Scannell lights a fire for her team.
That's what we all been anticipating, this kind of a match, back and forth. Jhani Brown will fill the spare put up by Gary. It's going to be 7. And a difficult spare leave. And the 2, 8, and 10. She's got a good angle on the wood next to the 2-pin, though. Second piece is rolling in between the 2 and the 8. She's got a chance.
See if this will go.
Too far.
Ooh, almost got it with the ball deflecting over. And the 10 bucks. So the lead is 12. But in order to keep the lead in double figures, Jhani will have to put a mark up there. And she drives right through the center. Jhani does not take a lot of time when she switches lanes. She keeps right on going. Now trying to bail out here. And gets out of it with a 9. That's a great out right there by Jhani Brown. Working on a strike, Mike Morgan. The team had a double strike last week. Came dangerously close to knocking over our triple strike jackpot.
Well, he's 1/3 of the way there right now. With that strike in the 8th, he'll fill that right now.
I don't think he got quite enough of the head pin. It was a little thin. Not much of a leave either.
Trying to persuade that wood to roll out a little further to him so you have a better angle on the 8 pin, but he's going to have to come off the wall with this one.
The 8-10.
Yes, the ball.
That was the only way it was going to go, Dan. A little help from the ball. You can't really plan for those 3-point caroms, but take them when they come.
It's an option. Figure if this would happen, but many times it doesn't. But that was a great shot by Mike Morgan. It's 3 in a row now. Spare, strike, and spare.
Off the head pin that time. Still coming this way, though, for a 7, Phil. Yes! Just had to wait for that wood to get over there. 4 marks in a row for the team.
Remember, they had 45 at the turn, 45 halfway through this game. Then they've gone there. You can see it's 10 bucks, spare, strike, spare, 7, spare.
So at 122 plus a ball. Yeah, you might have heard Mike. He knew that he had missed the head pin, but
sounded painful, didn't it?
still a 127, and from where they started, you see they had 72 pins in the last 4 boxes. Not bad.
Not too bad at all.
Gary Carrington will need 2 marks here in order to give his team the lead going into game 2. And he gets a pretty good mix on that ball.
Chance for the 10? Not quite.
Play the 10 pin maybe? Hope for that wood to slide over?
Could. He's got a couple options. There's another piece of wood next to the 8 pin as well as the one out in front. But I think the 10 pin's a shot.
Gary looked it all over and he went the other way and almost got it.
See what happens to the second piece of wood. Well,
might have had it, but
looked good, but
we'll never know. .106 with a box to come. And through the center for the spread eagle. So it'll be Mike Morgan and Debbie Scannell leading after 1 game, but the lead will be just 13 as we head to game 2. We will have that and details on the bonus ball contest when we return to Park Place Lanes in a minute.
Candlepin Stars and Strikes is brought to you in part by Rockingham Toyota Dodge Nissan.
Game 2 underway. And Jhani Brown nearly had a strike. And I'll tell you what, that 6-pin slid all the way into the channel. It never did go down.
I thought it was going to stay up.
For the spare? Yes. Four spares for the team of Carrington and Brown. Each team with 4 marks now. Turn that one over into the Brooklyn pocket for another 9 drop.
This time everything but the 3-pin. Got to hurry with that one.
Uh-oh. $9. 28 opening pair. Scannell and Morgan leading going into game 2, and here's Debbie Scannell. Right on the head pin, and that'll be a 9-drop. All 9 drops here in game 2 so far. Right there for the spare.
No doubt about it. Covers that 7-pin with ease. So she puts a mark up.
Uh-oh. Just the half Worcester on the fill. I'm imagining, Dan, that it's true, as is true in most sports like bowling or others like tennis, golf, that you think of as individual sports. When you compete as part of a team, it's a little more nerve-wracking because you don't want to let down your teammate.
Absolutely right. On the other hand, you get a little more encouragement from your partner. Sometimes it's a settling type of format too, where the other bowler can settle the other one down.
Well, a mark for Debbie Scannell in the first, but the half Worcester on the fill costing her there. And so Carrington and Brown making up 7 pins in those first 2 boxes, cutting the lead more than in half. And watch out, first strike for the team. Gary Carrington unloads.
As you see the replay of that strike. Right there, a good kick for the 6-pin.
For the double.
Oh, that close. This for the spare for his partner to fill.
Yes. Right on a line down to the 7-pin.
And they were trailing by 13. Well, depending on what Mike Morgan does, they may lose the lead.
Again, Mike Morgan finishing second in the roll-off only by virtue of the fact that he had a 168 high game, whereas Gary Carrington had a 172, giving him the top seed.
Everything but the 5-pin for Mike. This for the spare.
Oh, yes. Not distracted at all by that wood to the right. That's 6 marks for each team now. 5 spares and a strike on each side of the scoreboard. I don't know why, Dan, but I've just had a feeling the last couple of weeks that we're going to give away this triple strike pool. It might happen today.
Throwing a good ball. There's that painful sigh again out of Mike Morgan, missing the headpin to the left.
We have, again this week, 4 bowlers who are very capable of throwing strikes in bunches. That's an 8-box for Mike Morgan, and we will take a timeout. Almost at the halfway point, and this match is just about dead even. Gary Carrington and Jhani Brown have retaken the lead, and they will be working on a spare when we come back to Park Place Lanes.
Candlepin Stars and Strikes is brought to you in part by Coca-Cola Classic. Always the real thing, always Coca-Cola.
As we pick up the action here in game 2, Jhani Brown with a couple of 9 boxes. Debbie Scannell counters with 2 10s. So the lead for Carrington and Brown now 7 pins in the match. And Gary Carrington in the 7th. Well, I think Gary might have thought he had a bad lead coming, and instead he winds up with a strike.
It's happened a couple times. I know a couple weeks ago with Mark Gregory threw his hands up because he thought he was full. Got a break here with the 7-pin going out, but then it continues. The 6 and then finally the 3 for the strike. This is when you usually throw doubles. Now you bury one and get the double.
Oh, look out! Oh, my.
That close.
It's the second time this game that the team has had a strike followed by a 9-drop. But he makes it spare on strike again, as he did last time he came up. Candlepin Stars and Strikes, brought to you as always by our good friends at Coca-Cola. Always the real thing. Always Coca-Cola. Mike Morgan. Oh, my. That was a little full also, and this time the bad result.
Yeah, the 4-7 and 6-10. Piece of wood. I don't know if you go right at, maybe at the 7-pin.
That's what he tried, and he got it. Good call, Dan.
Boy, he made it look awfully easy. I thought he had to go. No, he was right on. It looked like he was a little far to the right, but he was right on the 7-pin. Was able to hit that wood and send the 4-pin over into the 6-10. That was a huge mark because the other team had a strike spare, threatening to push the lead into the 20s.
Would have loved to have seen that 10-pin go out, but it didn't go for Mike, and it's a 7 fill.
Now he wants the wood to roll back against the 10-pin. That gives him more possibilities with it, wood rolling back. It's not really cooperating with Mike.
So would he play this on the right side of the headpin, do you think?
Well, again, a lot of people tell me, do you split it? Do you, I'm shooting for the headpin. If I happen to split them and the headpin go down and get it, fine. If I'm to the right, maybe the ball will go down and take it. And it was in between. It was a little heavy on the headpin. That's what you don't want to do.
$10 for Mike. So as Jhani Brown steps up now for the final two, she'll be working on a spare left by her partner with a chance to increase what is right now a 10-pin lead for the team. Lost that one to the left, just 2. Jhani and her husband Wayne have 2 sons, 6-year-old Wayne Jr. and 4-year-old Justin.
Oh, it's straight out.
Very nice 10. Jhani's done that several times in this game, gotten nice outs on tough shots. None better than that one. Jhani works as a bartender at Williams Restaurant in Gardner, Mass. So next time you're in the neighborhood. Oh, another half Worcester. Nope, she's going to have another nice out here, a 9. A 133 for the team and a 2-game total of 247. But an opportunity here for Debbie Scannell to cut into that 12-pin lead.
Well, still falling. Not a bad lead. 1, 3, and 7. Considering what she had to work with it at first. Good opportunity here to put 1 or 2 marks up.
Oh, wow. Well, a mark in the 10th with a big fill on it, and this match would be just about even. Brooklyn side, and oh my, she had a pin. Piece of wood came off the side kick and went right between the 2 and the 8. So now she's left with both of them.
Now, these are the 2 pins you knock out for the half Worcester to the right, but to try to do it when they're just standing by themselves, difficult task.
No. So it will be Carrington and Brown now taking the lead into game 3. A 108 for Scannell and Morgan, 235, and the difference is 12 as Carrington and Brown turn a 13-pin deficit into a 12-pin lead with 1 game to go, and we'll have it on Stars and Strikes after these words. Time for game 3. here on Stars and Strikes. Our mixed doubles tournament comes down to this last game. Morgan and Scannell trailing Carrington and Brown by 12 pins. Some terrific matches in this series, and this one shapes up to be another one. It'll be $400 split between the runners-up, $800 split between the winners, and don't forget, we've still got a $1,000 triple strike jackpot sitting there for either one of these teams. We've had 3 strikes total so far in the show, 2 for the team of Carrington and Brown and 1 for Morgan and Scannell. But like last week, we've had a number of 9 drops as well. And it will be a, well, I was going to say a spare leave. Not really now with the wood moving away.
Well, it's a makeable spare leave, but it's not the one you...
Not one you choose.
That's true. Let's see where that wood settled down. You don't want that in between.
Got it. Oh, great shot. And a pressure shot, too, with the team trailing.
Yeah, both teams still look real strong. They still look like they are throwing a pretty good ball.
8 marks for each team right now. And Gary Carrington, who's been very sharp today. Yep. Well, it could have been a half Worcester. Instead, it's 5 and a makeable shot.
Absolutely. Good break there. 4 horsemen plus the 8 pin. 1, 2, 4, 7, 8. Piece of wood right next to the head pin should keep that in play for him.
Yes.
That's the way to cash in on a break.
Put a star next to that one. That is now 7 marks in 11 boxes for Gary Carrington today. And a little high again, not as high as last time, but it's a split this time.
Couldn't cook the 7 pin out of there. It's 7 drop on the spare. Let's see if the wood settles down.
Gary got a strike in the second game on a ball that was even fuller on the head pin than that, I think.
Let's see if he tries to split the 6-10 or does he go for that wood. But after the 6-10.
For the 10.
27 through 2. 19 in the ball. Debbie Scannell will fill that spare.
Oh, gets a kick. Look out. This could all go. Nope. It's 9 on the spare.
And a big fill that is, a 9, and then a very makeable spare with all the wood out in front of the 4 pin. Could be 2 in a row. Should be 2 in a row.
And is. You get the feeling this may just go to the end?
Yes.
Each team has had the lead for about the same amount of time. And another huge 9 drop.
Debbie Strong. That ball right in the pocket. 1-3, and that's her pocket because the ball's breaking from right to left. Cuts through the pins, gives a little better pin action. This time 9 leaves a 7. Oh, yes. You heard her. Oh, no. You had room to the right, Deb. You had room to the right.
Actually, as I rechecked my math, Dan, Carrington and Brown have really led most of the way. And Jhani Brown comes up with a big strike. What an answer.
At first, he thought she was going to be left with a 7-10. Right there. 7-pin goes, then the 10. Big strike by Jhani Brown.
For the double. Still mixing. Left with a 5 and 7.
But she's got a good angle on that wood for the 7. It's out in front of the 5, though. I think with her slower ball, though, the wood should take the 5. Too high. Too high. Had to be on the red line. But it's a 9 fill on the strike.
What it will do, though, is allow Mike Morgan to come up and tighten this match even further. He will be working on a spare when we come back to Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Don't go away. It's a good one. Mike Morgan on the approach, about to throw a very important ball here. He's working on a spare left by his partner, Debbie Scannell. The team trails by 10, less whatever he puts on this spare.
Teams are even with total marks, I believe, so
yep.
With a decent fill here, the match will be relatively even. Oh, that's a decent fill. Take 8. 6 and 10 left for Mike.
10 marks for each team to this point.
And a 2-pin advantage for Carrington and Brown. This to go 4 spares in a row.
Yes.
Mike thought he might have slipped by the 6-pin that time. He gets a sigh of relief.
Terrific match going here. Championship week of our mixed doubles tournament. We had a great match last year in the championship. Debbie Scannell was involved in that one too. She was partnered with Jack Ray, and they won a match by just 3 pins over Dennis Shute and Tony Marie Baldinelli to win the championship. And there's a solid 9 drop for Mike Morgan, and he will have no wood in front of the 7.
They have gone 9 box, spare 9, spare 9, spare 8, spare 9.
And an 84 half.
This to make it 5 spares in a row.
Yes.
He just looks awfully, awfully sharp, as does his partner, Debbie. Not to take anything away from Carrington and Brown.
Well, Gary Carrington has had a very good day also. And now it's up to him to respond to the 2 marks put up by Mike Morgan.
To keep the lead, he'll have to put 2 marks up.
Well, again, could have been worse. Not exactly a spare leave, but...
You know, I almost want to try that wood in the 3-pin. I mean, you get the 2 and the 3 directly across from each other. No, it's on the other side.
So it's an 8, and the lead swings back to Morgan and Scannell. As you see, leading this game by 21, by 9 in the match, and they have a spare up in the 6th.
Well, a roller coaster match, back and forth.
This time Gary gets the light hit he's looking for and has a 9 drop.
And the kingpin, the 5 left for Gary. Important mark for Gary.
In the 5th and 6th boxes, Mike Morgan with 2 spares. Gary Carrington answers with an 8 and a spare in the 6th. As we go to the 7th, Morgan and Scannell have the lead, but as you can see, it's in single figures at 9. Debbie Scannell drops 9.
Well, of the 5 spares, 4 of them were filled with 9s. Well, that's a pretty tough bowling. 6 in a row?
Yes. 6 marks in a row for the team of Morgan and Scannell. A little heavy on the head pin that time. 6.
4, 7, 6, 10. Her partner made this earlier in the match, or was it last week? He made this anyways, and now they're consulting.
Trying to fit the ball between them.
Oh, what a shot! Oh, my!
Very nearly got robbed on the 4-pin. Oh, she very nearly got robbed on the 4-pin, Dan, because it was sliding, and I believe another piece of wood hit it and knocked it over, or it might have stayed up. Watch this. Bang, right there.
And by their reaction, that's exactly what Mike was talking to her about. Just try to cap that piece of wood. That's a 6 fill for Jhani Brown on the spear put up by Gary. 2-4, 6-10, and just sliding by the 2.
That's 6, make it 7 spares in a row for Morgan and Scannell. And none of them better than that one. So Carrington and Brown all of a sudden now trailing by 20.
And must put a mark up. Oh boy,
Oof.
That was right in the pocket. Right in the 1-3, leaves herself to 5, 8, 9, 10. No wood.
Oh, and now it's even worse.
Well, this is an offensive game. There's not much defense in this game. And when a team goes spear 9, spear 9, spear 8, spear 9, spear 9, spear 6, spare, there's not much you can do about it.
You did that all in one breath. I'm
Yeah.
impressed. That's a lot of spares in one breath.
I mean, if you had a couple timeouts, you certainly would have used them.
All right, the ladies are done. Now Mike Morgan for his final 2. Well, missed the head pin, but he'll take 8. Chance for another one. Morgan and Scannell now lead by 30 in the match. They trailed by 12 coming into this game. 8 marks in a row.
They just won't give them any room to gain any ground at all.
Oh, Mike's brother Tom wondering where the strikes are. They only
That's
have one
right.
strike in this match. They do have 14 spares, though.
Don't tell me what you did for me yesterday. Tell me what you're going to do for me today. He wants to strike. And that's it. Oh, another 9 drop. 156 through 9.
Well, 2 weeks ago, we saw Chris Sargent and Peggy Tosi throw a 174 in the final game. Mike and Debbie have a chance to top that if Mike converts this single.
It's a 7-pin.
Yes, 9 spares in a row. 166 plus a ball.
Oh,
Well, I thought they were going to get one more 9 drop out of it. Instead, it's 8 and a 174, matching the 3rd game of Sargent and Tosi 2 weeks ago. 409 for Morgan and Scannell, and they have already won the match. The best Gary Carrington can do if he strikes out is 155, and that would not be enough. It would win the triple strike jackpot.
I was going to say, bring him a cool $1,000.
Yes, I'm sure they'll take the triple strike jackpot if they can convert it here at the end. But what a 3rd game for Morgan and Scannell. That's a 9, and now Gary will take one last crack at the $1,000. The 3 games for Morgan and Scannell: 127, 108, and 174. And again, high. And it will not happen today for the team of Carrington and Brown. They had a 12-pin lead coming into this 3rd game, but too much Mike Morgan and Debbie Scannell. We'll take a break and come back with the final scores and chat with our winners and see if we can't give away some bonus money as well when we return to Park Place Lanes in a minute. We are back, and Mike Morgan is ready to go for the bonus ball contest. $110 on the line, and it is, let's wait it out. It will be 8, maybe. It's 8. And Mike and Debbie, come on up. We have a winner. R.W. Belanger from Seabrook, New Hampshire. Guest 8, R.W. Belanger in Seabrook. $110 richer, plus a brand new set of bowling balls and a couple of brand new sets here. Slide right in here close, Debbie, so we can get you all on camera. And congratulations. That was a terrific match, but boy, what a great third game you guys had.
We had no strike ball. We lost it. It was gone.
Well,
the spares strong.
I was going to say, with all those spares, you didn't need strikes.
No.
A couple key spots we were flat. She threw 2 big marks, kept us in the match. They had a couple of bad breaks. Couple breaks either way, the match would have turned their way, but we got the breaks at the end. That's how it worked out.
We're out of time. Congratulations. $800 to share for first prize. Congratulations also to Gary Carrington and Jhani Brown, who share $400 second prize. And this is always a lot of fun, this event. And
Really
we
is.
saw 400s the last 3 weeks in a row.
That was amazing. Those usually have large scores like that, but when you throw 9 in a row like they did, or 8 in a row, it's pretty tough to come back.
We're back to singles competition next Sunday. Don't forget Skins on Saturday. Until then, for Dan and the whole crew, I'm Doug Brown. Have a great week, everybody.